In any corner of the world, it would be considered a perfect day for football. 57 degrees and sunny. Let's check in downstairs with Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, Greg, two of the best at their position in the NFL will match up this afternoon in Steelers receiver Antonio Brown and Cleveland cornerback Joe Hayden. It's a matchup that Brown has held the upper hand in his last 3 games against Cleveland, nearly 300 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And adding to the Browns' concern, Hayden's been dealing with the hip injury. It kept him out of practice most of this week. So Mike Pettine tells us that he won't be on an island with Brown. They'll have to provide some support, roll coverage that way. Greg?
Evan, thank you. There's Mike Tomlin, now in his 8th season as the head man for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the winner in Super Bowl 43. There is Mike Pettine in his first year as head coach here in Cleveland. And all signs point to him having this Browns team headed in the right direction. Steelers won the toss and have elected to take the football. Billy Cundiff getting set to kick it away. 13, Bree Archer. 27, LeGarrette Blount are deep, and we are underway. Returnable. Archer. Hit before he reaches the 15-yard line by Marquavius Mingo. And here comes Ben Roethlisberger out of Miami of Ohio, and now into his 11th season, completing 69% of his throws and leads the league with 14 passing plays of 25 or more yards. Let's just call him Big Play Ben until he proves otherwise.
Well, that's what Coach Pettine was talking to us about. The play doesn't really get started until Big Ben gets contact on him, till the defense hits him that first time, and then the play's extended, and Ben does what he does best.
Le'Veon Bell in the backfield along with Roethlisberger. And Ben to throw on first down. Outside, complete into the 20-yard line. Marcus Wheaton, number 11, with the catch. At the heart of the Pittsburgh offensive line, 5th-year center Marquise Pouncey from Florida. And Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers' leading rusher, 2nd leading receiver, more than 100 yards from scrimmage in each of Pittsburgh's first 5 games this season. Pickup of 6 on the play makes it 2nd and 4. This is Bell. And Bell spinning across the 20 and out to about the 23, maybe the 24-yard line, very close to a first down. Up front for the Browns, Phil Taylor out for several weeks with some knee surgery. Armani Bryant starts for him, and Kitchen starts in the middle for Ataba Rubin. Outside linebacker Paul Kruger was questionable with a bad back today, but he is in the lineup. And in the secondary, as Evan mentioned, Pro Bowl cornerback Joe Hayden, one of the very best in the National Football League. Questionable up until game time, but he's in the lineup. 3rd and 1. The pitch for Bell. Trying to turn the corner and not going to get there. To Sean Gibson, coming up from his safety position to make the stop.
Good discipline by Gibson. He's outside on the corner. You can see that he keeps the outside contained, and there's nowhere for Bell to cut back inside to go. Good pursuit by the defense, and Gibson makes that play and gets him off the field.
Jordan Poyer is deep for the kick. And a good one from Brad Williams. And we have a penalty marker down. Our first of the day. Our referee today is Pete Morelli. Looks like Pete's going to walk over and have a word with the Cleveland Browns.
Well, a little bit surprising, Pittsburgh. Normally, LeGarrette Blount is their short down and distance back to come in and He's a bigger, more physical back than what Bell is. He's usually the guy that comes in, but they tried a little trickery with the fake to the fullback and pitch to Bell.
We have a player, number 41 of the kicking team, out of bounds during the kick. A 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down, Cleveland.
That was Antoine Blake. So the line of scrimmage will be about the 32-yard line of the Browns. And sixth-year quarterback Brian Hoyer in charge of the offense. 6 TD passes, his 1 interception, the only turnover given up by the Browns in 4 games thus far. The Browns, their first possession from the 32. Hoyer with all kinds of time. Running short of it now and throwing it incomplete. Pass intended for his fullback, Ray Agnew, broken up by Jason Worrells. At left tackle for the Browns, Joe Thomas making his 117th consecutive start since he was drafted 3rd overall back in 07. And Ben Tate spearheads the running game, along with Isaiah Crowell today, that ranks 4th in the National Football League. This is Tate. And Tate tripped up by Troy Polamalu. Let's check that Steeler defense, a 3-4. Cameron Hayward out of nearby Ohio State has a pair of sacks on the season. At linebacker, the first-round draft pick Ryan Shazier is out today. 3rd-year linebacker Sean Spence starts for him. And, boy, I was just about to call him ever-present Trent. Troy Polamalu making that stop. Cornerback Ike Taylor is still out.
Well, perfect timing for that introduction.
3rd and 13. Hoyer under pressure and goes down at the 20-yard line. Cameron Hayward with his 3rd sack of the season.
When Cleveland comes out with a conservative approach in those first 2 plays, they try and do a 3-step drop, get the ball out of Hoyer's hands quickly. And then on the run play, Polamalu makes the tackle. But the pressure that Hayward's going to bring on this pass rush, when you got 3rd and long, you have to stand back in the pocket and wait for the receivers to develop. And that time, just hanging on a little too long as Hayward gets in and gets the sack.
Antonio Brown is deep for the kick. And he'll make the fair catch. At about the Pittsburgh 35, we take our first break of the day with 11:20 to play in the first quarter of a scoreless game. This is the NFL on CBS. That gorgeous view comes courtesy of MetLife, covering today's game from on high. LeGarrette Blount in the backfield. LeGarrette Blount with the handoff. Cuts right. Has a little running room across the 40 and out to about the 43, maybe the 44-yard line, brought down by Dante Whitner.
Even as big a back as LeGarrette Blount is, he still has great vision, the ability to cut back, see where the lane is, has that patience with his offensive line, and is able to get the ball up the field.
Second and 2.
Push it.
That one carry for Blount, and Le'Veon Bell is back into the backfield. And Bell with the handoff and has the first down. Across the 40 to the 42, and our very first update of the day. From New York, JB, Coach Bill Cowher.
And the very first drive for Baltimore.
Yeah, 4 plays, 80 yards. This 15-yard pass to Torrey Smith, capped also by a 52-yard run by Justin Forsett. 7-0 Baltimore, quick in this game.
Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, and Evan Washburn.
All right, guys, thank you. New set of downs for the Steelers, now at their own 47-yard line. Bell once again to midfield. K'Wan Williams, the rookie free agent defensive back from the University of Pittsburgh, makes the stop.
Well, and the Cleveland defense has had some struggles stopping the running game, and that's going to be a focus today. Is Le'Veon Bell has had success running, LeGarrette Blount has had success running the football. So even though the Browns are dealing with some injuries, the important thing for them to do is to stop this run and force a passing situation by the Steelers.
Rookie running back Dree Archer is in the lineup now on 2nd and 7. Archer gets the call. And off left guard and into Cleveland territory at about the 46-yard line. The first half against the second half this season has really been no comparison whatsoever, Trent.
Well, it's just, and that's what we talked about at the open, about getting off to a fast start. They can't fall behind. You look at these numbers, and it's drastically lopsided the way they've attacked teams in the first half compared to the second half.
6 rushing plays, 1 passing play so far for the Steelers as they have been attacking Cleveland on the ground, and they do it again with Bell. Bell has a first down, and then some, inside the 35 to about the 34-yard line.
The Browns are in man-to-man defense, and they're going to seal the edge. You see Kruger at the defensive end, jumps inside of his block, giving up the entire outside, and nobody makes contact with Le'Veon until he gets the first down.
Le'Veon Bell's numbers from a week ago in the 17-9 win at Jacksonville. LeGarrette Blount now back on the field. First down at the Cleveland 34. And again on the ground, and Blount wrapped up. Now pushes his way forward to about the 31-yard line. Armonte Bryant. This Cleveland defense is a little bit thin on the front line.
Well, they have been. They're beat up in a number of spots. 2 of their 3 defensive linemen are out with injury, and so you add that to the mix of a team struggling to stop the run. Now all of a sudden you have injuries and you have new guys in there, but this is the part of the field now as the Steelers have been establishing some run and some controlled passing game to where the Steelers like to take a shot to the end zone when they get around this 25-30-yard line.
Roethlisberger pumps and goes deep. Incomplete. And a flag. Looking for Antonio Brown, covered by Buster Skrine. It will go against the Browns.
Pass interference. Number 22 defense. Automatic first down.
Keep an eye on Buster Skrine. You see that left hand, he extends and grabs the back of Brown's jersey. The official that was on the sideline that normally makes that call was in a bad position to see it, so the official that was in the back middle is the one that actually threw the penalty. He had a better angle at it.
So here's Pittsburgh in the red zone, and has had some red zone trouble so far this early season. Only 26th best on offense. Bell pushed forward to about the 5. What did Ben say? Once you get down into the red zone, advantage goes to the defense.
Well, it just shortens up the field. You know, you eliminate that space, and the Steelers are so good at stretching the field with their big play passes up the field, and as the tight end gets close, or as the end zone gets closer, then obviously things shrink.
Boy, we were talking about how thin Cleveland is on the front line. That's Armonte Bryant down. We'll be back.
This is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you.
Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Meanwhile, there is Armonte Bryant being helped off the field, and Jabal Sheard, a linebacker, will replace him at defensive end.
Armonte Bryant is right there in the center of your screen, and he's the one that makes initial contact, and as this pile all comes down around him, you can see as he was limping off the field, his leg must have gotten caught underneath that pile.
8th play of this drive. 2nd and goal from the 5. Bell hit at the 5, forward to about the 3. Dante Whitner again up from the secondary with first contact. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Whitner at a safety position. You'll see him coming up right there from the middle of the screen. One-on-one right in the hole. That's what they tell defenders all the time. You're one-on-one. You have to be able to find a way to make that guy miss. And Bell tries to lower his shoulder, and Whitner was having nothing of it.
Roethlisberger spreads his receivers except for LeGarrette Blount behind it. Le'Veon Bell is out as a wide receiver at the top of your screen. This is Blount, and Blount not going to get to the end zone.
The Steelers have had trouble in the red zone. They've been able to pick up yards. They've been able to move the ball up and down the field. But Robertson does a nice job at point of contact there, bringing down Blount.
Meanwhile, there goes Armani Bryant, the second-year defensive lineman, off to the locker room. We'll keep you advised on his status. Meanwhile, Sean Sweezum from 20 yards out, looking to give the Steelers the first lead of the day. And he does. The Browns stand tall in the red zone. Meanwhile, you think this rivalry has had some stars involved? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, they go way back with an awful lot of greatness. 3-0. 63-yard drive engineered by Ben Roethlisberger has Pittsburgh on top 3-0. The Browns are down in the first half. That's nothing new for them this year. They're a combined minus 39 on the scoreboard in the first half, which is the 3rd worst in the National Football League. But boy, have they come roaring back in the second half.
They have done a good job, and it's important to point out there, we saw that on the screen there, the graphic, that 10 plays, all 10 were rushing plays. Now, of course, the big play for the Steelers was that pass interference call that gave them the ball down inside the 10.
Marlon Moore will not run it out of the end zone, so they'll start from their own 20-yard line. These teams met on opening day, and Le'Veon Bell's 38-yard touchdown run helped put the Steelers up by 24 at halftime. But here come the Browns. Brian Hoyer, Travis Benjamin tie the game at 27 early in the 4th before Sean Sweezum's 41-yard field goal, as time expired, gave the Steelers the 30-27 win. Pittsburgh the lead all time. They've won 4 in a row. 47 combined Hall of Famers.
That's staggering, right? Not just history of these two teams, but you're talking history of the National Football League. That's amazing.
Hoyer the Browns from their own 20. Tate, nowhere to go. Lost a couple of yards. Hit by Lawrence Timmons. Loss of 2. Once again, to New York. JB. Coach C.
A Bucks mistake cost him.
Yeah, Jimmy Smith interception leads right to this. Second touchdown of the day for Torrey Smith, 9 yards out. Baltimore up 14-0.
Greg, Trent, and Evan.
All right, guys, thank you. So the Ravens rolling on the road.
Well, Torrey Smith has been slow to get things going this season, but after the start today, it looks like he's back in the mix.
Tate. Back across the original line of scrimmage at another yard. Let's go down to Evan Washburn. Evan.
Well, guys, an update on Armani Bryant. It's a right knee injury. His return is questionable. This becomes a major storyline. They're already down 2 starters at that D-line and 1 backup. And we asked Mike Pettine about this yesterday, and he said, look, the true measure of a coach is how your backups perform. We'll have to see how they perform here in this first half.
Yeah, meanwhile, Evan, I wouldn't get too close to that field if I were you. Likely to put you into service. 3rd and 8. Hoyer under pressure, throwing incomplete. Fans want flags. There are none. Intended for Taylor Gabriel, the rookie from Abilene Christian.
Well, I think the fans are upset about as Gabriel had contact as he came out of his cut, but you see Hoyer couldn't wait for him to get out of his cut. He had to anticipate where he was going to be coming out of that cut just because of the amount of pressure that he was under.
Spencer Lanning to kick it away. Antonio Brown standing inside his own 35. Line drive kick. Brown at his own 40 and out of bounds at midfield. So nice field position for Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh offense. 3-0 Steelers. We'll be back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Fidelity Investments. Tap into the full power of your Fidelity Green Line.
Pittsburgh having its own way so far in the total yardage department. Cleveland on the minus side. From midfield, Roethlisberger for Dre Archer, and Archer straight ahead to about the 45-yard line. Hey, a reminder, Thursday football starts here. Rex Ryan's New York Jets taking on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. AFC East battle. Another big-time matchup in prime time on CBS and the NFL Network. Gee, those are two quarterbacks who haven't been in the news much lately, haven't they?
They've had a lot of press lately, and that's normal with Boston and New York. But Tom got his game turned around, and Gino's still looking for his a little bit.
On 2nd and 5, this is LeGarrette Blount, and Blount to within a yard of another first down. Line of scrimmage will be the Cleveland 41. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Well, it's a pretty safe bet based on the start of this game that the Steelers are trying to establish and stick with the running game as they've handed the ball off the majority of the time so far today.
Offensive plays, 13 on the ground for the Steelers, and just one pass. And on 3rd and 1, play action. Outside. That's complete for a first down to Justin Brown, the first-year receiver out of Oklahoma.
Well, it's the second time on 3rd and short that we've seen them go with Le'Veon Bell in the backfield and not LeGarrette Blount. That time the play action pass out to the flat. Nice catch by Justin Brown to pick up the first down.
And Le'Veon Bell has done a terrific job of catching the ball out of the backfield so far this season. First down from the 39. Coming around is Antonio Brown. Brown run out of bounds at the 40-yard line. They will lose yardage on the play. Dante Whitner with yet another defensive play. Let's get another update from New York. Once again, James Brown. Bill Coach.
The Jets?
Yeah, Geno Smith, 3 or 4 on this drive, finds Jace Amaro in the back of the end zone, 2-yard touchdown pass, and now the Jets take the lead over the Denver Broncos, 7-3.
Greg Gumbel, did you raise your eyebrows on that one?
I think everybody raised their eyebrows over that one, JB.
It must have been Gino must have heard me when I was talking about Thursday night, him getting his game turned up.
Yeah, he wants to talk to you.
That's right.
On 2nd and 12, this is Bell. And nice move. Cuts it back inside to about the 32-yard line. That'll be about 3 yards shy of a first down. Carlos Dansby making the tackle.
And this is what makes Le'Veon Bell such a dynamic runner. His vision, his patience. You saw at the beginning of the run, his patience to set up the block. Then you saw the speed to get around the corner. Then you saw his versatility and change the direction there, planting his foot in the ground and able to pick up 3 extra yards.
3rd and 3 as Roethlisberger spreads the field. Pass to the 25 to Bell for a first down.
And Greg, you just mentioned the fact Le'Veon Bell does a nice job of catching the ball out of the backfield, but on this play, they put him in the slot. It's not a real complicated route. He just presses up to pass the 2 yards past the first down sticks, and they just throw a hitch to him.
This is the end of the first quarter.
We come to the end of the first quarter. Trent Green arriving at the stadium a little earlier today. Take a look at the time of possession.
That looks like a lot of fun. I just don't know if I'd be able to stop it.
Timeout, Pittsburgh.
Well, that's a little
Team
weird.
timeout.
Ben
30-second
Roethlisberger not
timeout.
looking pleased at all. But after you come off of a break between quarters, you would think that you'd have your offensive call already done, already set.
Yeah, if there was confusion with the personnel group or the strength of formation, we'll have to keep an eye on that as the end of the first half draws near, if that timeout's going to hurt him.
Meanwhile, access all of today's football action on the go. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app now for instant scores, breaking news, video, and more, all on your phone. So Pittsburgh uses a timeout. We get the second quarter underway. LeGarrette Blount in the backfield on first down. Blount with the handoff and finds a hole and squeezes inside the 20 to the Cleveland 19-yard line, where Gibson comes up from his safety position to make the stop. Pittsburgh on the ground 15 times today in the first quarter. That's a long, long time back since 04.
Well, and Todd Haley was talking about last week he should have stuck with the run a little bit more. I think he's trying to send a message with the amount of rushes that he's had so far today.
Here's another one, right side. And Blount to about the 17. There's Todd Haley, offensive coordinator.
Having a chance to talk with both Todd and Ben Roethlisberger, just the relationship the two of them have developed over the last couple of seasons. Just the communication has gotten so much better, and the trust that Todd is now placing in Ben Roethlisberger with some changes that go on at the line of scrimmage.
A 3rd and 3. Le'Veon Bell now in motion into the backfield. Roethlisberger throwing and hit his man right in the chest. Marcus Wheaton turned, it hit him in the numbers, and he wasn't quite ready for it.
I go back to the last third down pass that they threw to Le'Veon Bell in that left slot. This time Wheaton's in the left slot. He just goes too deep, or at least it appears he goes too deep, because Roethlisberger had that ball out of his hands a lot more quickly than Wheaton was able to get turned around.
Squeezing, this time from 35 yards out. And either it was fumbled or it was a bad fake, and either way it didn't work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Craig Robertson, number 53.
Watch screen coming off the edge at the top. He just thinks it's kicked. He runs away. Robertson is aware and is able to come in and make the tackle.
So the Browns take over at their own 32-yard line on the missed field goal attempt, or the fumble field goal attempt, and Hoyer with a deep drop and throws it away. Cameron Hayward into it. Let's go back and see what went wrong on the snap.
We can see it's
No
a
foul for intentional grounding as there's a receiver in the area.
as the double clutch on the hold there. You can see the ball slips out of his hands. Wing does a nice job of trying to control it after that second bobble, but Sweezum comes up and stops the swing of his leg.
Sweezum was committed.
He was committed.
2nd and 10. This is Isaiah Crowell. Crowell, the rookie free agent running back out of Alabama State, had 2 rushing touchdowns in the first game against the Steelers.
Well, this is more of the same for the Cleveland Browns. We talked about the slow starts they've gotten off to in the previous games so far today. Talking to Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, they've put themselves in 3rd and long a lot, and that's why they've had slow starts. They wanted to stay out of that today, but this is once again their 3rd and long.
Hoyer over the middle, got his man inside the 50-yard line. That's Miles Austin, the veteran wide receiver. Spent his first 8 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. This is his first here in Cleveland. That's a 17-yard pickup and a first down.
Well, good protection by the offensive line. The first 2 third downs that they weren't able to convert, Hoyer was under pressure and had to get rid of the ball early. That time having plenty of time waiting for that play to develop down the field, and Hoyer with the nice touch over the defense and in front of the safety for Austin to make the catch.
Hoyer has it, looking all the way down the other side, and wide open is Jordan Cameron, and Cameron out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. 3 tight ends on the field on that play, and Brian Hoyer found one of them.
Just a play fake to the left, a bootleg out, and everybody is thinking he's coming to Travis Benjamin, who's working across the field. 3 defenders for Pittsburgh go that way. Jordan Cameron sneaks out the backside. Great hustle by Brett Kiesel, getting down to knock him out of bounds.
First and goal, Crowell going for the flag, and he's got the touchdown.
Once again, another tremendous job by the offensive line, sealing the edge. Crowell getting to the outside and making it to the corner. Timmons is trying to get a holding call because he's being blocked. He threw his hands up to try and see if sometimes the officials, if they see the defender do that, can draw the penalty. But that wasn't a hold. That was just a nice block by the Browns.
That is Crowell's 4th rushing touchdown of the season. Billy Cundit for the extra point, and it's good. 11:45 to play here in the first half. The fumbled field goal snap leads to a Cleveland touchdown and a 7-3 lead. Well, as Trent and I were just discussing, the Cleveland Browns, the numbers just don't justify it, but they are in front by a 7-3 score.
You never would have guessed it, considering the way this thing started. They had negative 8 yards at the end of the first quarter, and here they sit with the lead.
Archer going to run it out of the end zone to about the 16-yard line. Jordan Poyer with the special teams tackle. This is the touchdown. Isaiah Crowell putting the Browns on the board for a 7-3 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV. Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Well, the jerseys of Travis Benjamin and Brian Hoyer in honor of the biggest road comeback in NFL history, which the Browns engineered last week at the Hall of Fame in Canton. The crowd into it now. Roethlisberger running out of time, got the snap. Pump fake, going deep down this sideline. It is caught. Bell is ruled out of bounds.
Le'Veon Bell one-on-one with Dante Whitner to the outside as a running back. Doesn't have that skill set to drag the back foot as opposed to trying to tap it down. By trying to tap it down, he's not able to get it down in bounds.
2nd and 10. Stay with it, dude. Stay with it. Stay with it. No. Stay with it. Stay with it. Bell. Let's go back to that pass play.
Well, here's Jordan Cameron right here at tight end, and let's see, Troy Polamalu is going to be in man-to-man, and Travis Benjamin is on the top of your screen running a clear out. As Jordan Cameron comes down, it looks like he's going to block, so Polamalu peels back and goes the other way. The problem is, that's the man he's supposed to be defending. Jordan Cameron gets left wide open, and as a quarterback, Greg, you and I were talking about when you have a guy that wide open, you don't want to underthrow him. Unfortunately, he underthrew him a little bit, but the Browns were still able to get into the end zone on the next play.
3rd and 6. Roethlisberger, far side of the field, batted away. Incomplete, intended for Wheaton, broken up by Buster Screen.
Nice coverage by Screen. Good protection. You can see first off, Roethlisberger's able to step into this throw. You can understand why the Steelers were arguing for a pass interference call there. Screen looks like he makes contact before the ball gets there.
We have movement.
False start. Number 51, offense. 5-yard penalty remains. 4th down.
And this is crazy, Greg, how the momentum has quickly changed to the Browns. The first quarter completely dominated by the Steelers, moving the ball and putting the field goal up on the board, and then having that missed field goal the last possession.
Straight up, practically. Fair catch called for and made. And we have another penalty marker down. Poyer made the fair catch. Let's see what this one is. This one looks like it'll be against Cleveland.
During the kick, holding. Number 15, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down, and timeout.
10:43 to play in the first half. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, this is the 6th year of the NFL's A Crucial Catch campaign, which raises awareness around the importance of annual screenings for breast cancer. On Tuesday, the Browns visited patients at Seidman Cancer Center here in Cleveland, presented gifts to breast cancer patients to show their support and to brighten a few spirits here and there. Welcome back to First Energy Stadium. A lot of energy in this stadium. You know, you get the feeling, Trent, that you fall behind Cleveland. That's their plan.
Well, Cleveland is never out of it. They've shown that throughout the first month of the season.
Ben Tate to about the 43-yard line. Hey, a reminder, you can start your week off with a bang, a big bang. Catch Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on TV's #1 comedy. It's a new Big Bang Theory tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Brian Hoyer back to the line in a hurry. Penalty markers fly as the give is to Tate.
Defense, offside, number 97, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
That penalty is on Cameron Hayward.
Well, it's funny we're talking about the Browns never being out of it. You know, they were only down 3 in the first quarter. It's you know, they're like, we've been down 24 and 25 points. This is no big deal for us, and so they didn't lose their cool at all.
Pittsburgh's 53rd penalty of the season. They lead the NFL in a category you really don't want to lead. Tate breaking outside and can't escape Cortez Allen. To New York with another update. James Brown and Coach Bill Cowher. Guys.
Coach, what is the score? Trent Green, listen to these numbers. This is a 56-yard Flacco to Steve Smith pass. In the first 16 minutes, they have 35 points. 5 touchdown passes by Joe Flacco, 10-13, 196 yards, 35-0 over Tampa Bay.
Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you. And as you come back to us, Brian Hoyer finds Jordan Cameron down the field for a touchdown. "51 yards on the play."
The Browns have been trying to establish the running game. Here they get a nice play fake, good protection. Jordan Cameron one-on-one down the middle of the field with Cortez Allen. Beautifully placed pass by Brian Hoyer.
Jordan Cameron's first touchdown catch of the season. And the extra point is good. 9:35 to play in the first half. Second touchdown of the game on the board for the Cleveland Browns, who lead at 14-3.
Official sound of the NFL. And by Ameriprise Financial. More within reach.
The folks here in Cleveland a little excitable. You can't blame them. Their Browns have put 14 points on the board in the last 2 minutes and 10 seconds. This last touchdown, Hoyer to Cameron. Dree Archer and LeGarrette Blount deep again for Pittsburgh. And this one will not be returned. Sails through the back of the end zone. So the Steelers out to the 20-yard line, and we go back to the play.
Jordan Cameron's lined up on the outside, and he's going to take a skinny post. You've got Cortez Allen, who is lined up with outside leverage, and you have Polamalu on the other tight end as he pulls to make a block. That's what frees up Polamalu in here. Nice play concept. You take up both safeties. Polamalu's concerned with the blocking tight end going the other direction. Cortez Allen thinks he has help to the inside, so he maintains that outside leverage. Jordan Cameron just gives him a stick and takes it vertical. Nicely placed pass by Brian Hoyer.
So the Steelers from their own 20-yard line. And this is Dree Archer. Archer changing direction. Turns the corner. A first down and more, out of bounds at about the 35-yard line. Dree Archer, the third-round draft pick out of Kent State.
That's Dree Archer's third carry of the game already. You can see they have a distinct game plan, getting him in the backfield and trying to isolate him with that speed, his ability to put his foot in the ground and get around the edge.
His third carry of the game, his first 3 carries of this season. Now from the 35, and this is Le'Veon Bell. And Bell across the 40 to about the 42. Hey, tomorrow on CBS, no matter the odds, these geniuses can always defend on each other. Don't miss the new hit drama Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central after The Big Bang Theory.
After 2 running plays in a row, I anticipate a play-action pass to try and get the ball up the field here. After the Steelers falling down 14-3 here, they've done a good job of establishing that run. They need to take a shot up the field and try and stretch the defense.
Bell. Short of a first down, close to the 44-yard line. Boy, the Cleveland Browns would love to make a statement here today, both against the Pittsburgh Steelers and in the AFC North. Pittsburgh started with a field goal. Cleveland has answered with 2 touchdowns. 14-3, 8 minutes to play in the first half.
And once again, 3rd and short, no LeGarrette Blount, sticking with Le'Veon Bell in the backfield.
Roethlisberger throwing far side. It is incomplete. Off the fingertips of Marcus Wheaton, and Buster Skrine covering.
Well, and there's that shot up the field. The problem coming on 3rd and short, if you don't hit it, now all of a sudden you have to punt. Just off of Wheaton's fingertips, because it looks like he had a step on the defender.
Trent, for a guy who was questionable up until game time, they haven't really tested Joe Hayden yet, have they?
They haven't. They've been attacking the other corners, but Hayden, they've been doing a good job. The Browns have been mixing up coverage.
Jim Leonard caught it at the 16 and was hit immediately by Ross Ventrone, who was just signed yesterday. A Saturday, it's the best game from the best conference as the Alabama Crimson Tide hosts Texas A&M's Aggies in a crucial SEC West showdown. It all begins with college football today, right here on CBS Sports. That's what the Browns have done in their last 4 possessions. 2 punts, 2 touchdowns. And they begin from the 15-yard line. Crowell in the backfield. Crowell with the pitch. Right side, trying to turn the corner. And out of bounds right at the first down marker. Appears he has it at the 25-yard line. Terrence West is another running back who's made some strides this year for this team, but for whatever reason, it's a coach's decision that he's inactive today.
Yeah, he leads the team in rushing coming into today, but as you said, Greg, he's not dressed, and Crowell shows the speed to get outside on that play.
Hoyer got his man across the 45 and out of bounds at about the 50-yard line. Taylor Gabriel. And once again, Hoyer in hurry-up mode, getting his team to the line of scrimmage.
Well, you go back to week 1, and they had a lot of effectiveness going with the hurry-up. Here they get the play-action pass again. They've utilized that play where they fake it one way and then set up the pocket behind the other guard.
Crowell. Across midfield into Pittsburgh territory at the Steeler 47. You have to hand it to Brian Hoyer. He has kept his cool, and now we have a man down at about the 47-yard line, and it's a Cleveland Brown. That's Alex Mack, the center. We'll check on him after we take a break.
This is Alex Mack. He's engaged in the block, and keep an eye on him. It's his left ankle as the pile moves forward. You can see that left ankle gets trapped underneath the falling bodies.
And as you said, Trent, they didn't waste any time at all getting the cart out for Alex Mack, who is in his 6th season out of California, was their first-round draft pick back in 2009, and had never missed a snap in his career.
Well, and that's a significant thing, because when you talk about that quarterback-center exchange, you know, when you have the same center every game, and in this case, every single snap, your center generally is the guy that is the leader of the offensive line in terms of getting protection set and blocking scheme set.
So look at the Cleveland Browns flocking to Alex Mack. That tells you his status.
Well, and talking to Brian Hoyer and the coaching staff, there's just so much respect for the offensive line, so much respect for Alex Mack. Just how intelligent the group is, and you know they come in with a lot of questions. Sometimes too many questions for Kyle Shanahan's liking, because he's like, guys, just block what I'm asking. They're like, well, what if this, and what if the defense does this? And you know, it's a good group, and they're going to miss Alex Mack. Hopefully, it's not a too severe of an injury.
Mike Pettin says they're the football nerds. So now it appears...
See, I know better than to call the offensive linemen nerds, because being a quarterback, you know, you want to keep them nice.
John Greco moves over to center. This is Crowell coming to the near side. Nice cut. 40, 35, down close to the 30-yard line. He'll be marked down at the 31-yard line. That's a first down for Cleveland.
Watch the left side of the offensive line. It's a stretch play to the outside. Agnew does a nice job, 48, the fullback, of coming inside and getting that seal block as Crowell puts it inside.
Paul McQuiston, veteran lineman, has moved into the offensive line to replace the missing Alex Mack. And here's Crowell, lost the football. Nice block from Hoyer. And Crowell back to the 30-yard line. And they're still in hurry-up mode. So 2nd and 9.
Hey, Stafford, Buffalo!
Hoyer now empties the backfield. Lots and lots of time over the middle inside the 10-yard line. It is incomplete. Taylor Gabriel, the intended receiver. And Mike Mitchell hit him and he couldn't hold on. Looked to be a pretty good pass, didn't it, Trent?
Well, it was a little bit high, but anytime it hits a receiver in both hands, you'd like to think he's going to secure it. But you know, give some credit to Mike Mitchell just with the hit there to knock the ball loose. A clean hit, uses his shoulder. Does a nice job at impact to jar the ball loose. But Brian Hoyer saw something in the secondary that he thought he could attack up the field, and he checked to the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 9. Hoyer outside, got his man inside the 20-yard line. That's Miles Austin, and that's a first down for the Browns.
Nice ball placement to the sideline, get it away from the defender, low and away, so that Austin's the only one that can go get the ball, pick up the first down. I'm impressed with Brian Hoyer. Not only is a guy coming off of an ACL, so you're spending a lot of time with rehab, but that time he turned protection to where the pressure was coming from, so it was all picked up and gave him time to get rid of that ball.
On first down, Pate taking it to the left side, and Tate to about close to the 15-yard line. Nothing further from the Cleveland Browns other than Alex Mack suffered a lower leg injury.
Alpha! Tight!
As we come up on 4 minutes to play in the first half.
Hey! Rhino, Rhino,
They do not expect him to return. Tate weaving his way to the 10. And it'll be 3rd and 2. Lawrence Timmons, Cortez Allen combining for the stop for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, after dominating the first quarter, really back on their heels.
Well, they mentioned how much trouble they had in the first matchup with this up-tempo offense, and it's showing itself again today as this second quarter the Browns have gone to some up-tempo and have gotten things rolling offensively.
Yeah, Coach Mike Tomlin told us that we clearly were not ready for that. 3rd and 2. And Hoyer going to call a timeout.
Timeout. Cleveland. First team timeout, a 30-second timeout.
So Cleveland uses a timeout and stops the clock on 3rd and 2 with 3 minutes 12 seconds to play in the first half. And coming up on the Verizon halftime report, we invite you to join JB and company for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, as well as a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and the NFL Network that's coming up on the Verizon halftime report. Were you kind of surprised that Mike Tomlin said that we weren't ready for that hurry up? Because you would think that's in the arsenal of just about everybody in the league these days.
Well, you would think, but the fact that it was game 1 of the season, and if Cleveland hadn't shown that in their history, or they didn't show it at all probably during the preseason, number one, you have to understand it changes the tempo, but number 2 would be the conditioning factor, and you'd think week 1 you would be in great condition, but as you said, Mike Tomlin said they were caught off guard with that.
Timeout, Pittsburgh.
Now Pittsburgh takes
Second
a
team
timeout.
timeout, a 30-second timeout.
So defensively, the Steelers didn't see something that they like, and they used their second timeout here in the first half.
I want to go back to my comments about Brian Hoyer and just how impressed I am with the fact that coming off of an ACL, having dealt with an ACL injury myself, and the amount of time that you have to spend at the rehab, amount of time that you're spending just trying to get healthy. Now all of a sudden you factor in trying to learn a new offense. Kyle Shanahan comes in. You have to learn a new offense. So you're spending time, an inordinate amount of time, studying film and studying the playbook, trying to not only get yourself up to speed, but get the other players on the offense up to speed as well. And then you've got to balance that with the rehab part of it. So just a tremendous job that he's done getting himself prepared for this season.
Well, let's see if we get a 3rd and 2 play off here without a timeout being called. Tate. And appears to be enough for a first down. It depends on where they mark it. It is enough for a first down.
Well, and the official from the bottom of the screen had the first down, and from the top of the screen had a little bit different mark. But the official at the bottom of the screen, I guess, got there first, and he was the one marking the ball. So
that's always fun for a coach, isn't it?
when they see the 2 officials coming in at different places, yeah, that's got to make them scratch their head a little bit. But it's a first down nonetheless.
We saw the great Dick LeBeau, defensive coordinator for the Steelers. Tate to the end zone. Ben Tate scoring his first touchdown of the season. 4 years a Houston Texan, came here to Cleveland as a free agent, His first TD as a Cleveland Brown. Billy Cundiff's extra point is good. Just under 2.5 to play here in the first half. And the Cleveland Browns with a 21-3 lead.
John Greco now playing center and Bitonio playing left guard. They come over, and this is where the cutback is going to take place. Great job. As we said, Alex Mack lost on this drive to injury, had started 85 consecutive games. Now all of a sudden you have a new center and a rookie left guard, Joel Bitonio, pushing that defensive line around.
'85-yard drive in 11 plays, and that young man gets the first touchdown of the season for him. We just feel the people here in Cleveland are a little excited about their, even before we came to the stadium. As soon as you hit town.
There were long lines to get to the tailgates early, and it doesn't hurt any that it's the Steeler matchup.
Coming out of the end zone is Dree Archer, and Archer spun down before he gets to the 20-yard line. They'll spot it at about the 18.5. We have a moment to remind you with NFL Mobile, stream live local Sunday afternoon primetime games and NFL Red Zone right on your mobile device. Learn more at NFL.com/mobile. Well, this AFC North, as we said at the very top of the day, the best in the National Football League as far as one-loss percentage.
Well, and you look at that, the standings within the division, Cleveland being 0-2, there has to be a real sense of urgency on their part to not go 0-3 after the day.
Roethlisberger, far side of the field. Little back shoulder and a terrific grab by Antonio Brown with Joe Hayden covering.
You asked last series why they weren't going after Hayden because of that hip injury, and sure enough, first play, they come out and go Brown one-on-one down the sideline.
And we get hit with a 2-minute warning. Another snap for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 21-3 Cleveland. A world of time on the clock for Ben Roethlisberger. 2 minutes, although the Steelers are down to one timeout remaining here in the first half. Roethlisberger over the middle, almost intercepted by K'Wan Williams.
Well, Greg, you mentioned the fact they only have the one timeout left. We have to remember at the beginning of this quarter, coming out to start the second quarter, they called a timeout before they even ran their first play. And then last series, Cleveland, after calling a timeout, Pittsburgh wasted another timeout back-to-back. So now they've only got one, but with the amount of time that's left, the fact that you've got just under 2 minutes now, you still can utilize the middle of the field. There's plenty of time to where you can attack the entire surface.
Roethlisberger has Antonio Brown at his disposal, one of the terrific receivers in the league. That pass on the far side, complete to Antonio Brown, and he's out of bounds, and that stops the clock with 1:51 to play.
Once again, going one-on-one up this left sideline, Antonio Brown on Hayden. Roethlisberger once again with the back shoulder throw. Roethlisberger was under pressure. They brought safety pressure off the backside slot, and he took a shot right as he was delivering that pass.
Mike Pettine said they will give Joe Hayden some occasional help, but right now he's one-on-one with Brown at the top of your screen. Roethlisberger looks left, throws short, incomplete to Bell coming out of the backfield. Thought Le'Veon Bell, we were talking with him yesterday, and he was a product of Michigan State, and he came into this game with 228 yards receiving. He said, did you feel at any point that you had to work on your receiving game? He said, no.
He's a very confident young man. Yes, he is. But he's been able to back it up.
On 2nd and 10. Good protection. Roethlisberger throws it this way. Incomplete. Marcus Wheaton on this side of the field. So now, with 1:41 remaining and only that one timeout, Roethlisberger may be thinking in terms of field goal for Sean Sweezum.
Well, I think it's important if you're thinking field goal, you have to pick up a first down, because even if they get to the 40-yard line, that'll be a 58-yard field goal, and that's not within Sweezum's range, so they need to get a first down to even think about a field goal.
Little screen, this side, Bell. And Bell run out of bounds at about the 47-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. Not enough for a first down.
Yeah, they have no choice but to punt here. This is definitely out of Sweezum's range. Now you start thinking about, if you're Cleveland, setting up some kind of return. You're putting in Leonard. It looks like Leonard's back there to retrieve the punt. He's not the guy you're thinking of from a return standpoint. He's looking from a stability standpoint, securing that catch.
And he has the catch made at about the 14 or 15-yard line. And that is where Hoyer and company will start, with 1:27 remaining here in the first half. And again, the Verizon halftime report coming up. JB and the guys for all the latest NFL scores and highlights, and a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network coming up on the Verizon halftime report.
Well, Greg, it's important to remember here now, with 1:27, Cleveland has 2 timeouts, but Pittsburgh got the ball first. So Cleveland has the ball coming out in the second half. So how they manage the end of this half, so they go down with the lead they have at 21-3. Do you just try using up the clock knowing you're going to get the ball right away? Or do you go ahead and attack up the field? And I think it'll be pretty clear after this first play what their intentions are. Well, and there goes one of those
timeout.
timeouts.
Cleveland second team timeout, a 30-second timeout.
Well, after falling behind by a field goal, back came the Cleveland Browns with a vengeance. Isaiah Crowell, and then the pass over the middle to Gordon Cameron. And then Ben Tate up the middle for the touchdown. And again, it's worth going back and looking at that first quarter where Pittsburgh just controlled the football. Hoyer, quick pass, far side. That is incomplete. Taylor Gabriel did not hold on.
Well, I think that's one of those plays you throw it outside, hoping to maybe catch the defense not balanced up correctly and able to pick up a big chunk of yardage. But the fact that it's incomplete, now the clock has stopped. I would think they're going to run the play here, force Pittsburgh to use their last timeout.
As you saw by that graphic, drop passes don't happen often with this team this year. 2nd and 10. Tate, running room. And tripped up by Polamalu at about the 15-yard line. And that just might entice the Cleveland Browns to run out the rest of this clock here in the first half.
When I'm watching Coach Tomlin as he worked his way down the line of scrimmage, if he was trying to, I thought he was going to run down there and call a timeout, utilize or save as much as he could, try and get the ball back.
And the Browns in no big hurry.
Russell! 20!
Hoyer throwing. Just a little bit behind his intended receiver, Andrew Hawkins. So the Steelers will get their hands on the football one more time before time expires.
Well, and Hoyer puts that ball a little bit behind because linebacker Sean Spence was in the middle of the field. You lead the receiver, it ends up being an interception, potentially a pick six. So good location on the pass, just not able to haul it in.
Antonio Brown standing inside his own 40-yard line. Returnable kick. Brown looking for blocks, changing direction, losing yardage, back to the 38-yard line.
Well, losing yardage and wasting about 8 seconds off the clock. Pittsburgh still has that one timeout in their pocket, so they can utilize the middle of the field if they want to try and get down into field goal range.
You know, you mentioned, Trent, that Cleveland gets the ball in the second half, and we specifically asked Mike Tomlin, you know, what do you do when you win the toss? He said, I do, if number 7 wants the football, I give it to him.
Well, a lot of teams have gone to deferring so they can get the double possession at the end of the first half and the second half, but he said, I look at 7 and find out if he's got a good feel, so he decided to give Ben the ball first.
Roethlisberger with all kinds of time throwing. Incomplete at the 35. Lance Moore, the intended receiver, K'Wan Williams, who Mike Pettin speaks highly of. He's a rookie free agent out of Pittsburgh. In fact, there are a couple of DBs back there in the second rank. Justin Gilbert is their first-round draft pick from Oklahoma State. 2nd and 10.
Down at the bottom of the screen, you can see Hayden pressed on Antonio Brown with safety help over the top.
Roethlisberger going to go deep. Far side of the field, and it is out of bounds. Incomplete. Justin Brown on the receiving end, but he wasn't in bounds. 8 seconds left on the clock.
Looks like he gets the 1 foot, but that 2nd foot comes down out of bounds. The official in great position to make that call.
And that's K'Wan Williams, who looks a bit shaken up on the sideline. And 3rd and 10 with 8 seconds to play. Cleveland Browns as far back as their own 30-yard line.
Timeout, Cleveland. 3rd and final team timeout. 30-second
Cleveland
timeout.
uses its last timeout here with 8 seconds left. Well, Ben Roethlisberger, if there is anybody he'd like to play in the National Football League, it's the Cleveland Browns. He's kind of had fun against them.
18-1. I can honestly say I've had some good games against some teams, but I don't. 18-1 is complete domination, and you look at the scoreboard right now, and you can tell that's not in the minds of the Cleveland players, because the way they've dominated this first half, or I should say the way they've dominated this second quarter, because Pittsburgh was running things that first quarter.
It's amazing, isn't it, how the tempo can change, how a mood can change on the field from one quarter to the next, sometimes from one set of downs to the next.
Well, and it really all started with that dropped field goal attempt on the hold.
Roethlisberger pops it over the middle to Bell, and Bell across midfield, and that will run the clock out here. Let's see, there's 1 second remaining.
Timeout, Pittsburgh, 3rd and final team timeout.
So Pittsburgh got the timeout call before time went off the clock. So they have one chance to throw it at the end zone. One second, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cleveland Browns very, very deep. And he goes short to Brown. Brown down at about the 22-yard line, and that does it for a first half that sits very well with these Cleveland fans. 3-0 lead for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that disappeared in a hurry in the second quarter. The Browns put 3 touchdowns on the board, and they go to the locker room with a 21-3 lead. That's the end of the first half. 21-3 Browns. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Welcome back to Cleveland, where the storylines are pretty clear in the first half. The Steelers had their chances, and that botched field goal attempt turned things around for both teams. For the better for the Cleveland Browns, who scored 3 touchdowns in the second quarter to grab a 21-3 halftime lead. As we get set to start the third quarter, just a short while ago, Evan Washburn caught up with Cleveland coach Mike Pettine.
Well, Coach, it wasn't the second half. It was the second quarter. You got back in this was key to that comeback.
We got the stops in the red zone. We were leaking water on both sides of the ball early. Found a way to get it going. That's not only giving up the field goal, and then they botched the one was huge for us. We ended up converting to touchdowns, and that's the difference.
What will it take to finish this game?
Just that word. We use it in the locker room. We got to finish. We've been on the other side of this, so we know a team can come back. We just got to go out and play. I mean, it's a cliche, treating it like it's 0-0, but that's truly where we have to be.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Great, thank you.
All right, Evan, thank you, and thanks to Coach Mike Pettine. Greg Gumbel along with Trent Green. When I asked you what happened there, you said it's really simple.
Well, it is simple. The Pittsburgh Steelers stopped converting third downs, and they had stuck with the run the entire first quarter. They maintained time of possession, but in that second quarter, they got away from that, and you start not converting the third downs. You give Brian Hoyer an opportunity, only 5 completions for Brian Hoyer. He's averaging 29 yards per completion, so they're getting big plays up the field.
They were able to control the ball when they were running the football in the first quarter. Do they have the resolve to go back to that and stick with it for a while here in the second half?
Well, I think now that you're trailing 21-3, you can't completely go away from the run. You have to be able to sprinkle that in, but I think you also have to be able to attack up the field the way they started to do there at the end of the half.
Second half kickoff sails out of the end zone as the Browns get ready to start from their own 20-yard line. Let's check in with Evan once again. Evan.
Well, guys, I caught up with Mike Tomlin heading into the locker room. He was very confident. He said it's simple. It was 2 big plays. The 2 big pass plays to Cameron, he said, changed the dynamic of that first half. He said we just have to keep everything in front of us defensively. I asked him if any concerns offensively. He said no, it's all about the big play.
All right, Evan, thank you. So the Browns from their own 20-yard line with the ball and the lead.
Hey! Deep on one. 20!
It has been a while since Cleveland has led Pittsburgh by that much at halftime. This has been Tate, and Tate across the 25 out to about the 28-yard line. Jason Worilds making the stop, but not before an 8-yard pickup makes it 2nd and 2.
Well, it's interesting talking to Ben Tate yesterday. One of the things he said that got him interested in wanting him or him wanting to come to Cleveland was the offensive line, how good of an offensive line they have, and they've just done a tremendous job since the second quarter on creating lanes for him to run.
Wait, 20!
Remember, it's an offensive line now without the veteran center, Alec Mack. This is Travis Benjamin looking for a block. Didn't get the big block, but enough of one for a first down just across the 30-yard line. Polamalu making the tackle. So the Browns to the 31 now for a first down.
And even though that wasn't a big play, it keeps the defense honest. You have to throw in those plays every now and then just to see if the team is maintaining their discipline. And the Steelers maintained that discipline, but the Browns were still able to pick up the first down.
20! What's that?
Hoyer still with the ball. Throwing deep. This time. Inside the 40-yard line to Travis Benjamin. And that'll be a first down at the Pittsburgh 37. 31 yards on the play.
Travis Benjamin will be coming from the right side of the screen all the way to the left side of the screen. And Hoyer, after coming off of the fake and then the reverse fake, puts it in position for Benjamin to go up and make the play. Cortez Allen wasn't in bad coverage. It's just that he was behind him.
Here's Tate once again. To the 36. We are told from the Pittsburgh sideline that nose tackle Steve McClendon is out of the game with an injury to a shoulder.
Out bus, high! 180! Hey! What is high? Scissors! Scissors! Double! Scissors!
On 2nd and 8.
Rhinos, high!
Hoyer throws it away. Under pressure
There's
from
no foul for
Brett
intentional
Kiesel.
grounding as a receiver in the area.
So it'll be 3rd and 8. And certainly one of the lines in the second half to watch for is that offensive line of Cleveland and how it holds up minus Alex Mack now.
That's a big loss. Alex Mack not having missed a start or a snap his entire career, and John Greco sliding over from right guard to center. How many snaps have they gotten up until this point? That's the question. Obviously, nice transition when he first came in as they got a touchdown, but as the second half develops, it'll have to be a matchup to watch.
Hoyer, and a disconnect there on the far side of the field. Miles Austin was his receiver on that side, and Vince Williams bearing down on Hoyer in the backfield. It'll be fourth down. So the Steelers come up with a stop. Punting unit comes on, and that means Spencer Lanning trying to put one inside the 10-yard line.
Well, instead of a 54-yard field goal attempt, they're going to go ahead and play the field position game with a 21-3 lead and punt this ball away.
Lanning puts it up. Bounces it inside the 5, and it's covered at the 5-yard line. Marlon Moore. Good special teams work by the Cleveland Browns. Starting from their own 6-yard line, the give is to Le'Veon Bell. And what the Steelers did in the first half, as you can see, things went downhill as the lead went from a 3-0 advantage to a 21-3 deficit. Steelers ran the ball 22 of their first 28 offensive plays and then threw the ball 11 straight times as they fell behind. On 2nd and 8, Bell. And Bell to about the 13.
Well, a part of that last graphic, Greg, that stood out to me was the fact they had 2 10-play drives and all they came away with was 3 points. You put together double-digit drives, you're generally putting the ball in the end zone or at the minimum getting 6 points.
Let's see what offensive coordinator Todd Haley comes up with on 3rd and 2. First pass of the second half. Pump fake, throwing, sideline. Got his man. Antonio Brown working on Joe Hayden on the far side of the field, and a first down.
Well, considering it's 3rd and 2, you're going to see at the top of your screen there Antonio Brown doing an out route, and Hayden jumps it because he thinks that's a first down type of route. Usually on 3rd down, you go a couple yards past the sticks, and that's generally what happens for offenses. That's why Hayden was so aggressive jumping it. But the pass protection was good, and as Brown worked it up the sideline, Ben Roethlisberger was able to make an accurate throw up the field.
This is Bell again, and Bell out across the 40 to the 41, and an update from the NFL Today in New York, JB. Coach
Miami knotting it up.
Yeah, 5-yard, 80-yard drive. The 40-yard run by Ryan Tannehill leads to this. Ryan Tannehill to Jarvis Landry, 11-yard touchdown pass. They tied up against Green Bay, 10-10.
Greg, Trent, and Evan.
All right, guys, thank you.
No.
On 2nd and 6, quick pass to Heath Miller, the tight end. And Miller right at that first down marker at about the 47-yard line. The Browns say that Armonte Bright, with that first half injury, is now gone for the remainder of this game.
We can see in the first half the change of tempo was of real benefit to the Browns, and now the Steelers coming out in the second half trying to do the same thing, calling plays at the line of scrimmage.
Right through the hands of Miller, his tight end. You don't see that very often. Miller has been a reliable receiver over the years for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Very sure-handed, good route runner. That time a little bit too far out in front. Ben Roethlisberger talked about him yesterday in our meeting. Just how much he can rely on him, especially on those plays that break down. They have such a good connection that they're on the same page.
2nd and 10. And Ben going to take off and slide down at about the 45, and we have a penalty marker on the near side of the field. A little give and take between Antonio Brown and Joe Hayden.
Holding, number 43 defense. 5-yard penalty at the end of the run, automatic first down.
I don't see a number 43 on defense for Cleveland. This is what happened on the near side of the field and where the penalty marker was thrown. Nevertheless, a first down for Pittsburgh. And this is Bell breaking through for about 9 to the 32. Carlos Dansby, Dante Whitner. A couple of the guys brought into this franchise to lead. Here's that little give and take between Brown and Hayden.
There's no love lost between those two players or these two franchises.
And this is Bell looking for the first down and has it at the 30-yard line. So once again, Roethlisberger and the Steelers move the chains and move down the field. And once again, no huddle. Bell to the sideline, Blunt into the backfield.
They've ran the ball pretty consistently. Once again, this is the area of the field where the Steelers like to take shots to the end zone.
Roethlisberger stepping up and going down. Dansby along with John Hughes.
The Browns bring pressure. You'd see off of the play fake, Roethlisberger is looking to push the ball up the field. But the Browns are able to collapse the pocket, not give him room to step into that throw.
I notice Joe Hayden is now following Antonio Brown all over the field. Wherever Brown goes, Hayden follows. 2nd and 11. Roethlisberger running out of time, and he goes down again. This time Desmond Bryant into the backfield.
Well, and that's a big sack because it pushes him out of field goal range. Bryant right here is going to come up the middle, but the real pressure comes from the outside, forcing Ben to step up into the pocket so that Bryant can make the sack. But because of that sack knocking him out of field goal range, now the Steelers are forced to go for it. They're forced to try and push the ball up the field, I should say.
3rd and 17. Roethlisberger lofting it. Near sideline and off of his intended receiver, Lance Moore, number 16. And we have a Cleveland player down, and that is K'Wan Williams. You'll recall he was injured a short while ago. Clipped by his own man as he went by. We'll check on him as we take a break. So the incomplete pass, 4th and 17. Jim Leonard standing back inside his 10-yard line. And Brad Wing will try to pin the Cleveland Browns down. Bouncing at the 2. Trying to save it are the Steelers, and they did not. So it goes as a touchback. Antoine Blake couldn't make this special teams play. It'll be first down for the Cleveland Browns at their own 20 when we come back. later, next Sunday, join us once again for the NFL on CBS. The Bengals battling the Indianapolis Colts. The Dolphins visit the Chicago Bears, the Chiefs, and the San Diego Chargers. It all begins at noon Eastern time with JB and company on the NFL Today. That's next Sunday here on CBS. Antoine Blake into the end zone. Didn't quite get back over the line in time. So the Browns from their own 20.
Hey, 20! Let's hit!
This is Crowell. Crowell with running room, right side. For a huge gain before Cortez Allen bumps him out of bounds. A pickup of 24 yards. Nice blocking, Trent.
Nice job by McQuiston, the right guard who comes in the game after the injury to Alex Mack. John Greco moves over to center. Paul McQuiston comes into right guard. Does a nice job of pushing the pile, getting out of there and giving room for the cutback and the long run up the sideline.
Hoyer still with the football. Looking, throwing, this side. Caught inside the 30 to the 25-yard line. That is tight end Jim Dre. You know, it feels like Kyle Shanahan is just flipping through every page of the playbook.
He's doing a good job of creating space for his receivers, and even though Brian Hoyer is not completing 50% of his passes, the ones he does complete are large chunks up the field. He's getting the safeties to flow one direction. This is the third time now we've seen a throwback play where a guy's isolated one-on-one and Hoyer's been able to make the completion.
Cleveland averaging 8.5 yards per play on offense. And once again, Crowell drops the ball in the backfield. Second time he's done that today.
The first one I would place on Crowell. This time here you can see it's a little short and it's kind of soft. So Crowell, as he reaches for it, doesn't secure the ball.
You're not placing that on Crowell?
Not that one. Not that one. Hey, that's a quarterback thing. You gotta make it catchable. You gotta lead him. Brian Hoyer will probably tell you the same thing, but could he have caught it? Yes. Was that an easy ball for him to catch? No, it wasn't.
Okay, 2nd and 16. Crowell to the sidelines, Tate to the field. Hoyer looks right, throws right, and that's inside the 25-yard line, complete to Jordan Cameron. And let's get another update to New York. JB, Coach C.
All right, Coach, he's doing it again.
Third of the day, third touchdown pass for Peyton Manning, number 506 with his career. Julius Thomas, 9th touchdown catch this year, 4 yards out from Peyton as they now go up 24-7.
We're running out of superlatives, Greg Gumbel.
Don't look at me, JB. You guys have them all. 3rd and 7. Hoyer over the middle to the 5-yard line, incomplete. He couldn't hold on. That was Cameron, and another hard hit by Mike Mitchell, number 23. And that is Lawrence Timmons climbing to his feet.
Second time today with a throw down the middle of the field that Mitchell's been able to knock the ball loose. Once again, a clean hit, uses his shoulder.
And Timmons is going to come jogging off the field. That's good to see. Well, the players starting to fall at both ends of the field. A little earlier, K'Wan Williams went down, and the Cleveland Browns tell us that he's being looked at for a head injury. Nothing firm yet. So here's Billy Cundiff looking to connect from 40 yards out. Lanning in the hole. Cundiff got it inside that upright. Cleveland 24, Pittsburgh 3, with 3:23 to play in the third.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, except if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm looking around, Trent. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this day.
This is a beautiful day, and you know, you don't come to expect that all the time in Cleveland, and they've ordered up perfect weather for this Brown football environment here today.
This one will again result in a touchback, and the Steelers will start from their own 20-yard line, down 24-3. This is the NFL on CBS. The infamous dog pound getting a little boisterous. First down from the 20-yard line for Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Ben going to throw it. Screen. Archer. Tripped up by Buster Screen for no gain. It'll be second and 10. And the Browns have had their share of key injuries today. They lost Armonte Bryant to a knee injury. Alex Mack to a lower leg injury, and neither of them will return. Roethlisberger, crossing pattern, complete. First down across the 30 to about the 33 is Heath Miller. Let's go down to Evan.
Well, Greg, we saw Timmons come off the field there, and he's able to return. It was initially just a back injury, but he is available to get back in this game when the defense takes the field.
Thanks, Evan. So now from the 33, as the Steelers try to establish a little momentum. Roethlisberger to throw again. Tipped at the line of scrimmage. Intercepted. Picked off by the Browns at the 37-yard line. There's the tip at the line of scrimmage. Buster Screen. Did he get his hands under it?
Looks to me like he got his hands underneath it. You can see the ball looks like it hits, but it looks like it hits on top of his hands as he scoops it. Give credit to John Hughes.
We will review the previous play.
Give credit to John Hughes of the Browns jumping up and tipping that ball up in the air. Since it's called an interception on the field, there has to be a clear shot of it hitting the ground, and so far these different replay angles, I haven't seen the ball make contact with the ground yet.
We'll see if it's determined. If it is an interception, that will break a streak of 129 straight passes thrown by Roethlisberger without an interception. Buster Screen reaching for it.
See, it's implied that the nose of the ball may have hit the ground between his two hands, but you don't actually see it. It could be the contact hitting the inside part of that right hand.
Let's go to our officiating expert in New York, the one and only Mike Carey. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. What do you think? You saw this play?
I think the streak is going to continue. They're going to call this incomplete.
Why?
The point of the ball hits the ground.
But you don't actually see the point of the ball touching the grass. Is it just implied that it hits the grass, even though his hands are in the way?
It's not implied, but you can see the hands apart and the ball, through that first shot, the nose of the ball hits the ground.
You know, I'd love to argue with Mike Carey, but sometimes you can't.
Hands apart, ball hits the ground. Coming back.
All right, Mike, thank you.
But this is a stands league, you know, so they might
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It's a catch.
This is a stands league, as you said, Mike. The interception stands. Buster Screen with his first interception of the year. Mike?
You can see the hands apart, and you see the front of the ball dip past the hands. Not on this shot, but the shot before that, and then it bounces up.
Okay, Mike. So you believed it was an incompletion. They saw it differently, and now Ben Tate. Tate looking for running room. And not much there.
Well, Greg, I go back to my original contention is you don't actually see the ball come into contact with the ground. It's implied because, as Mike said, you could see the hands apart. It's just you don't actually see the contact with the ground, and whether or not the ball hits the back of his hand or it hits the inside part of his forearm, I think that's where there's still some inconclusiveness to the replay and ultimately why Cleveland ended up with the ball.
Go.
Pickup of 2 makes it 2nd and 8 from the Pittsburgh 37. The pitch for Tate, right side. Oh, hit hard as he crossed the 35 by Lawrence Timmons.
Well, I guess Timmons is feeling all right. He got back out on the field pretty quick after coming off the field. As Evan Washburn told us down on the sideline, he would be back ready for the defense, and he's not feeling any ill effects of whatever was bothering him because he delivered quite the hit.
Either that or he's playing well despite it.
That's right.
3rd and 5. Here come the Steelers after Hoyer. He got knocked down. The pass is incomplete. And a penalty marker. Jordan Cameron, the intended receiver. Mike Mitchell was there with it.
Pass interference. Number 23 defense. Automatic. First down.
So the penalty is on Mike Mitchell. Meanwhile, Troy Polamalu was in big time on Hoyer.
Well, once again, the amount of respect you have to have for Brian Hoyer, standing in there, knowing he's going to get hit, and yet delivering the ball up the field. We've seen a handful of times today that a Steeler defender was coming free, and he just stood there and was able to get the release.
Brian Hoyer looking around. He wanted a marker at one end of the play or the other.
He has to. This is not the right thing to say, but you have to establish yourself a little bit more. Maybe start getting those calls.
The pitch for Tate, right side, running room, cut down short of the 10-yard line by Mitchell.
Can't say enough about the offensive line. Just Tate doesn't even get contact until he's 10 yards down the field.
Well, as you mentioned, that offensive line took a hit with the loss of Alex Mack, but yet they continue to control the line of scrimmage as time winds down here in the 3rd quarter. We've come to the end of 3, 24-3. Browns will come back after this message and a word from your local station. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Along with our producer, Bob Monsbach, our director, Suzanne Smith, and the rest of our crew here in Cleveland, Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Evan Washburn. These Cleveland Browns got a standing O from this end of the field as they move down to start the 4th quarter. This is Tate. And Tate fights his way through a tackle to about the 8-yard line.
It's important.
And now we have another Steeler down on this side of the field, and that is Jason Whirls, number 93. And he is back up. One shoe on, one shoe off.
Did you see how the officials shoot him off the field? No pun intended there. He came over to him to see what was wrong, and he pointed, saw the guy came out on the field to tie his shoe, and he's like, yeah, you got to get off the field for that.
You have to go sit down somewhere.
Double.
2nd and 7.
Hey, 14? Yeah. Hey, 20. Ben, B push. Push.
Tate bouncing off of tacklers to the 5. Now this is luxurious for the Cleveland Browns this year because everything has been tight. They lost by 3 to Pittsburgh, won by 2 against the Saints, lost by 2 to Baltimore, and last week that 25-point comeback and a 1-point win at Tennessee. This is a 3-touchdown lead. I'm not sure they know what to do with this.
There's a lot of time left, so I don't think that Coach Pettine is completely relaxed, but he has to be feeling better about himself right now than in previous weeks.
Hoyer to throw, incomplete in the end zone. There's a penalty marker. Miles Austin, the intended receiver. Cortez Allen was covering.
Holding. Holding, number 28. Defense, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down. Or after this to the ball. First down.
Well, and the key there is automatic first down, because that being 3rd and 3 would have forced the Browns into a field goal. Now they get a new set of downs.
Right 20!
With Tate on the backfield deep. Tate gets the handoff, looking for the end zone. And no signal as yet. Second and goal.
Nice job attempting to push the pile, but the Steelers right there at the goal line.
Wow, he was nudged over, but
what you couldn't see if his knee
whether he
was down.
or not.
At the end, you could see him extend the ball across the plane.
Right 20! Right 20!
So Blair will try it again with Tate, who gets to the end zone for the touchdown. Buster Skrine with the interception. The Browns make the Steelers pay.
Well, and we can't say it enough. The injury to Alex Mack brings in Paul McQuestion to right guard, and right guard John Greco moving over to center. And yet every time they need a key pickup, they're running over the right side of the offensive line, right where McQuestion is lined up. Great job being prepared and stepping in there.
Extra point is good. Few eyes blinking around the National Football League at the scoreboard. The Cleveland Browns are on a roll. Hey, a reminder, coming up the Subway postgame show. JB and company will have scores and highlights all coming up on the Subway postgame show. This crowd has been something to watch, hasn't it?
Well, it's impressive. And last night, talking to Ben Roethlisberger, he said a lot of times because of the close proximity, there'll end up being as many, if not more, Steeler fans. But because the way the Browns season has gone so far, you don't see hardly any Steeler fans in here today. You're feeling the impact of this Browns fan base.
And the Steelers are a team that travels very well. Boy, the Cleveland Browns have just done most things right today, Trent.
Well, ever since the first quarter, they did a good job establishing the run and doing some play action pass to get some big throws up the field. And then even with the number of injuries that have faced them on the defensive line, they've been able to put constant pressure on Ben Roethlisberger and not allow the big plays up the field. Yes, the Steelers have ran the football effectively, but as far as the passing game is concerned, they have yet to stretch the field.
Boy, look at what happened since that first quarter. It's been all Cleveland. And it is loud. Roethlisberger on the quick slant for about maybe 6 yards. Antonio Brown.
Not that you completely want to abandon your defensive philosophy and what's worked up until this point, but with a 4-touchdown cushion, I don't anticipate the Browns going to a lot of single-man, high man-to-man defense where you can give up those types of big plays.
Roethlisberger looking, throwing, and that's incomplete. Near side. Buster Skrine broke up the pass intended for Justin Brown. You know, as you look at this graphic, the Cleveland Browns are taking out an awful lot of grief over the years that they've suffered at the hands of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, we touched earlier about Ben Roethlisberger's record against Cleveland, but that stat there, that graphic there, shows just the dominance he's had, and not only in this tradition, but just in the history of the National Football League.
On 3rd and 4, that's incomplete. Antonio Brown coming across the field, disconnect there, and Pittsburgh will kick it away. That's another thing we've seen, Trent, is there's just a tremendous one stand defensively after another on the part of the Browns.
And you've seen that frustration on Ben Roethlisberger's face a couple of times today where he just hasn't been quite on the same page, whether it be Antonio Brown or another receiver, with what they're going to do or the angle that he wants them to take.
Jordan Poyer is deep for Cleveland. Poyer from just inside his own 20-yard line. And down at the 25. 11:58 to play. Fourth quarter. All Cleveland.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Outback Steakhouse. Outback, no rules, just right. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
A reminder, tonight on 60 Minutes, meet the most wanted man in the world. He avoided arrest for years and spent millions on his escapes. See how he did it. 60 Minutes tonight. Only CBS. It's a nice picture of downtown Cleveland, Ohio. And some really happy fans here in Cleveland.
The dog pound has been wound up since before kickoff.
I have a feeling they might have been wound up since that 25-point comeback last week at Tennessee.
It's been some carryover, huh?
First down. And the Browns will do the work trying to take some time off of this clock. Isaiah Crowell with the carry. Evan, is it noisy? As noisy down there as it feels like up here?
Well, Greg, it's not just noisy, but it's interesting what the chants in this crowd is propelling to this field. They're chanting Brian Hoyer. You talk about the commitment this guy has to this team. This fan base has rallied behind him. I haven't heard Johnny Manziel's name come up once. It's all about Hoyer down here.
Johnny Manziel's name would be a little odd at this point, wouldn't it?
Well, the
Second and 7.
Well, the type of season that Hoyer has put together, and then the fact they're beating the Steelers today, I don't anticipate that.
Crowell lost the football, covered by the Steelers. Cortez Allen covered the loose football. Contact coming from the side. Only the second turnover by the Cleveland Browns this season. As we mentioned, Crowell's fumble. Only the second turnover. To go along with the lone interception thrown by Brian Hoyer. Roethlisberger, running out of time, throws this side of the field, and that is complete to Antonio Brown. And his battle with Joe Hayden continues.
Well, this is a return route. He has help over the top, does Hayden, so he knows he can get in a trail technique, and on that inside move, when you know you have help over the top, you cut inside and look back for the ball, and Brown just planted that foot and peeled back out to the outside, or Roethlisberger delivered it.
Antonio Brown, 6 catches for 101 yards today. Roethlisberger running out of time. Dumps it off to his right to Bell, who's corralled by Carlos Dansby. That'll be 2 yards short of a first down. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Well,
Second and 12.
Well, and the thing I liked about that is Dansby came up under control. He wasn't trying to make the highlight reel hit. He knew that Bell has the ability, the shiftiness to escape. So come up and just secure the tackle, get him on the ground. Don't just go and fly around there and take a chance of missing.
Roethlisberger going for it all. Brown batted away by Joe Hayden.
Hayden and Brown have been matched up pretty much most of the day. In the first half, they had Hayden moving around a little bit, but in the second half, anywhere that Brown's been going, Hayden's been there. And even though Brown has been able to bring in 6 catches for 101 yards, Joe Hayden's done a nice job on him today, especially the fact he came into this game dealing with the hip injury.
That was a terrific defensive play. 3rd and 12. Lots and lots of time Roethlisberger throws, and that's complete. We have a marker down at about the 12-yard line. Heath Miller making the catch.
Holding. Number 23 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Joe Hayden giveth and he taketh away.
Just on cue. Just on cue. We were just complimenting him about the job he's done today, and sure enough, he gets called on a hold. But it wasn't on Antonio Brown. He went out of the game on that play, and I guess he just wasn't used to covering somebody else.
Word from the Cleveland Browns, defensive back K'Wan Williams is out with a concussion now for the rest of this game. Roethlisberger pumps once, throws inside the 20, and that's complete to Marcus Wheaton, the second-year wideout from Oregon State. This Pittsburgh team chalked up 490 total yards against the Browns in Game 1. And still needed a last-second field goal to win it. Second short yardage, popped into the air and complete. Lance Moore, the intended receiver, looked like Carlos Dansby was there.
By the time this thing is said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers are near 400 yards again, because with this type of lead, the Browns are going to play a softer defense, allow them to catch some of this underneath stuff, and then come up and make the tackle.
This is Bell. And Le'Veon Bell works his way to the 11. And that will move the chains. It's another first down. And once again, as we said, both these teams pointed to this game as a big game. Cincinnati and Carolina are tied up. Baltimore just running away with the game in Tampa. First down from the 11. Roethlisberger, lots of time, running out of time now. Out of the pocket. Drifter, throwing. Oh, what a catch down at the 1-yard line by Marcus Wheaton. It'll be marked at the 2, but that's just a terrific pitch and catch.
Well, it goes without saying, but that is what separates Ben Roethlisberger, and his style of play is buying time with his feet to push the ball up the field. He's been tremendous at that his entire career.
Penalty markers are down as Bell twists down at the 6-yard line. Courtesy of Dante Whitner. Let's check the flags.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Offside, number 67, defense. 12 men on the field, defense. Half the distance to the goal remains, second down. The result of the play will be a first down.
You see right there, Kitchen at the top of the screen, trying to get off the field. He's going to be too many men.
The result of the penalty.
And offside because of where he was with the line of scrimmage.
Either that or in motion for the Steelers.
That's right.
Take your choice. Le'Veon Bell in the backfield, first and goal. Roethlisberger going to throw for it, incomplete at the goal line. And the late flag. Roethlisberger wants to know why there wasn't one at the point of contact. I'm looking at Trent Green, and I'm thinking he's thinking the same thing.
I am. I'm sitting here thinking if Screen had his eyes on Roethlisberger, that may have been a 100-yard interception.
After the play was over, Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 68, defense. 15-yard penalty, still first down.
That's left tackle Kelvin Beachum, guilty of the foul for Pittsburgh.
Second down.
So here's the pass.
Screen is up here, and he just changes.
Wow.
They just exchange receivers, but if he has his head up, they really almost threw it right behind him because he made that switch.
And then the Beachum penalty came after the conclusion of the play. And here comes the crowd. On second and goal, to the end zone, wide open, diving, incomplete, intended for Wheaton. And Roethlisberger just overthrew it. Ben might have been surprised as to how open he was.
Yeah, that's like missing the wide open layup. That's as a quarterback, you just want to make it nice and easy for him, but also sometimes as a receiver, you think you're that wide open, you can ease off on how fast you're going as well.
Third and goal. Roethlisberger, little pump fake on the move, pulls it down, now throws. That's complete, but to the 10-yard line only for Justin Brown.
There was no hesitation on the Steelers' sideline. They didn't even think about bringing the kicking unit on. Lance Moore ran on the field.
Now a little bit of confusion as number 15, Justin Brown, starts on and then comes back to the sideline. So fourth and goal from just inside the 10-yard line. Roethlisberger, incomplete. And the Cleveland Browns will take over on downs.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon XLTE on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network. And by Subway Restaurants. Get to Subway for the Meatball Marinara, the $5 footlong of October.
6:46 to play here in the fourth quarter. The Browns from their own 9-yard line, and Ben Tate, who will sleep well tonight. My goodness, Week 6 continues later today on Fox, and then tonight with the Giants and the Eagles on Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tune in tomorrow for the 49ers and the Rams on Monday Night Football on ESPN. Ben Tate has had 19 carries for 60 yards, but feels a lot more, doesn't it? Got a bunch here. Across the 20 to the 22 and a first down.
Well, you're talking about him being sore tomorrow. It's just, as you said, just the number of touches that he's been able to put together. He does have those couple of touchdowns. He has good vision here. Nice cutback to alleviate that hard direct hit.
Five and a half to play here in the fourth.
Like 20! Double!
Polamalu with the tackle. You know, that celebration will be tempered a bit by the injury to one of the key members of that offensive line.
Well, center Alex Mack, he comes out. He's just engaged in a block, but as the run comes to his side, you'll see the pile just fall onto the back of his leg. They brought the cart out almost immediately. You can see him here as he gets carted off. The the players, it was just a tremendous response. The entire sideline comes over to the cart to tap him on the helmet, give him a hand, and
Hey, 20!
he will be greatly missed. But with a nice job by John Greco and Paul McQuiston stepping in at guard.
On 2nd and 8, this is Crowell. Let's get another update from New York. Once again, we go back to JB and Bill Cowher.
Jets have narrowed the gap.
Yes, Geno Smith's second touchdown pass of the day. This one to Eric Decker cuts the lead to 24-17 with just under 8 minutes left to play.
Geno trying to improve at it. Back to Greg Gumbel.
Eric Decker playing against his former teammates.
Well, and they've missed him over there in New York because he's one of the guys that can stretch the field. He gives them a big presence at receiver, and when he's missed those games because of hamstring injury, it's cost that offense.
Keeping on the ground again with Crowell. Crowell trying to spin out of trouble and cannot, and he's brought down at about the 23-yard line.
And Pittsburgh's going to start using some of their timeouts. Yep.
Pittsburgh, first team timeout. A 30-second timeout.
That's Cameron Hayward getting up and is not real happy about what happened. I'd say Cameron Hayward is furious about what happened.
It looks like he's not real happy with Joe Thomas, and Joe had something to come over and say to him as he was leaving the field.
Let's take a look. We'll look after the kick. Dree Archer is back at his 30-yard line. Spencer Lanning gets a good one off. Archer can't shake the tackles at about the 25-yard line. Let's go back and see what the fuss was all about, Trent.
Well, and what Hayward's going to be upset about is right here, you'll see Thomas, you're going to see his helmet right here. His helmet's going to go right into the left knee of Hayward. So right into the lower leg, lower left leg. And that's what it was so mad about. They've added some new rules to the chopping and what linemen are allowed to do, if they can do from the side or the back, and that appeared to be in front. So it shouldn't be further ramifications from the league in terms of getting a fine later in the week.
Yeah, that's a tough life for the trenches. This is Le'Veon Bell. Bell dipping outside. And the clock continues to move, 3.5 to play. And we have another flag on the field.
That's going to be onto Sean Gibson. He and Bell.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, pounding, number 39, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's a hard tackle and it's a hard play. They get up talking to each other. Where Gibson crosses the line is right there. He starts pointing fingers at him, and
that just doesn't make any sense.
That's going to draw the attention of the officials.
So the line of scrimmage is now the Pittsburgh 48.
So what I'm saying, Greg, is there's a way to talk it. You just can't use hand gestures to draw attention to it.
Roethlisberger, far side of the field, on the money to Marcus Wheaton, and that is just shy of a first down. Looks like it'll be about a half yard to go, 2nd and 1. Roethlisberger fighting to get his team into the end zone. Pulls it down, now throws this side of the field, and that is at the 25-yard line, and the catch is complete to Antonio Brown.
And you can see right now that Cleveland's content with letting them catch everything underneath.
Drags that left foot behind him.
He does. He gets a little tap down of that left foot. Initially, it's not down, but right there at the end, he taps it down before falling out of bounds.
A first down from the 26. Roethlisberger looks left, comes back over the middle, and it's incomplete. Intended for Lance Moore. That's Brett Kiesel headed for the locker room. Meanwhile, how about the battle between these two very talented players today?
Well, they've had hand-to-hand combat most of the day, both in the run game and in the pass game. And you can see them getting after it. There's no love lost between the two. But unlike what Gibson did when they're talking trash to each other, they're not using hand signals, so there haven't been a flag, even though they've gotten after it pretty good.
Roethlisberger with lots of time and looking and throwing inside the 5 to the goal line. Touchdown, Lance Moore. Roethlisberger with just no pass rush to worry about.
Well, it was interesting getting a chance to talk with Ben last night. He talked about, I brought up the fact that he can extend plays with his feet, and that's what creates a problem for defenses. And he said what has been some of the problem this year is they have such a young receiving core, getting everybody on the same page with him as far as where to break when he gets outside contained. That time there, Lance Moore, even though he's new to the system, he's been in the league for a while and understands zones and where placement needs to be for the quarterback.
The extra point is good, and with 2:36 to play in the fourth quarter, the Pittsburgh Steelers finally score a touchdown here in Cleveland. It's Cleveland 31 and Pittsburgh 10 in another disagreement down around the 5-yard line. Did we mention rivals? A reminder for you, Thursday, football starts here when Rex Ryan and the New York Jets take on Tom Brady's New England Patriots. Another big-time matchup in prime time on CBS and the NFL Network. You consider recent history between these two teams. There's a lot of frustration coming out of those Cleveland Browns here today.
Well, at the top of the show, we talked about the Steelers winning 20 of the last 22 matchups, so that is a lot of frustration, and some of these players may not necessarily have been around or been a part of some of that, but when you talk about all-time NFL history and all-time franchise history, as this graphic shows, it's two legendary franchises in the National Football League.
Both Cameron Hayward and Mike Mitchell have left the game with injuries, and their returns are questionable. Mitchell with a knee injury and Hayward with an ankle. What do you think the chances are we'll see Johnny Manziel today before time winds down?
You know, I don't. I don't anticipate him getting in. I think that this is Brian Hoyer's moment.
Onside kick is corralled by the Browns at the 40-yard line. You saw Brett Kiesel leaving the field. He, suffering from an injured knee, will not come back today. And you're exactly right. It appears about Johnny Manziel, who is helmetless, as Brian Hoyer comes back on the field.
Well, not only did Hoyer grow up in this area, but just the fact that, you know, we saw him throw a block earlier in the game. I mean, the fans have really latched on to Brian Hoyer and like his game and like his style.
Would we need both hands to count the number of blocks you threw?
Yes, you would.
Oh, good.
You actually would. It may take some digging in the archives, but yeah.
You mean proof exists? The teams will let this run down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play here in Cleveland. The Browns have arisen 31-10. This is kind of like getting a huge monkey off their backs.
Well, it is, and the fact we've talked repeatedly about
Timeout Pittsburgh, second team timeout, a 30-second timeout.
repeatedly about how lopsided this game has been, this rivalry has been in the last 22 games. But you know, the fact that Pittsburgh and Cleveland are so close together, and Jim Haslam was a part owner of the Steelers prior to buying the Browns, so there's a close connection for him.
So the 3rd and 12, a look ahead to the Browns' schedule. They travel to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville threatening to lose again today. Tennessee, and then Oakland, and then Tampa. Down the stretch, it's going to be a challenge. 3rd and 12.
Wait, 20! Wait, second!
Tate inside the 40 to about the 38. As for the Steelers,
Timeout Pittsburgh, third and final.
who used their last timeout here in the second half, they've got Houston and Indy and Baltimore at home before traveling to the Jets in Tennessee. And then that stretch run where they've got the Cincinnati Bengals twice, so they'll have a lot to say about what happens in the AFC North. Steeler fans are not used to having their hands in their pockets and being quiet at the end of a game against the Cleveland Browns.
No, there's some frustrated fans right now, and you know, Coach Tomlin talked to us about the consistency that they have to have. You know, after winning a game, losing a game, winning, you know, they needed to. You know, after last week's win, he was hoping they would come in and perform better today. They had enough practice overcoming adversity and coming back from losses.
This one will bounce inside the 5, and it'll stay there. So 1:37 on the clock and no timeouts remaining for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike Pettin will just have a great time handing out game balls in the locker room, won't he?
Well, he may just give one to the entire team because they performed well. Once again, let me preface. After the first quarter, they performed well, and even that first quarter, the defense did a good job of keeping the Steelers out of the end zone. The special teams played well. It was just an overall team performance.
Giving the Cleveland Browns the win, Baltimore win, and Pittsburgh a loss. This is LeGarrette Blount. And Blount pushed back. Forward progress marked at the 2-yard line. Jabal Sheard, the first man to hit him, as we duck under a minute and a half.
We talked about some of the injuries that have taken place today. Armani Bryant, defensive lineman that was filling in for Phil Taylor, but you know, they were missing 2 starting. So now you've got 3 defensive linemen that will be banged up after this game. So great job by a number of backups today for the Cleveland defense.
And this is Blount, and Blount straight ahead across the 5 to about the 7. Imagine, Trent, what a victory like this does for the morale of the Cleveland Browns and their attitude and their and that power of positive thinking.
Well, and I think it even goes back to last week. You know, you're able to come back from 25 down on the road. You come back and you get a big win, and you know, you thought maybe there was some cobwebs coming into today's game because of the way the first quarter went. But once they got things rolling, this fan base got behind them. This is going to be a team to reckon with moving forward just because of that positive feeling around the team.
This figures to be the last snap of the day. Unless this falls incomplete. Roethlisberger on the move and looking and throwing, and is incomplete on the sideline with 11 seconds to play.
He actually ended up coming up with the interception. It's just, I think his backside falls out of bounds before
he established
before he established control. So
Joe Hayden, who was questionable at the start of this day, has played a strong game.
He has. He's had his battles with Antonio Brown, but stepped up when they needed him. He didn't practice very much this week, and there was concern whether or not, number one, he'd be able to play.
Timeout, Cleveland, second team timeout, 30 seconds.
Number one, he'd be able to play, but number two, if he'd be able to last the entire game.
This season started with the Pittsburgh Steelers knocking off Cleveland 30-27 in the first game for both teams. And the Steelers had led 27-3 before the Browns rallied and then lost it on a field goal at the gun. Joe Hayden.
All smiles, reason to smile, right?
Poyer gonna let it bounce and let it roll, and the clock will run down. What a day for the Cleveland Browns and Mike Pettine. (31-10) Cleveland, our final score. Coming up, it's the Subway post-game show. Bonus coverage of the Broncos and the Jets coming your way shortly. For Trent Green, for Evan Washburn, for all of us here at First Energy Stadium, Greg Gumbel saying so long from Cleveland. Thanks for joining us, everybody. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.